what he says tonight is going to define the rest of this campaign. And if the media didn't get it tonight, they're never going to get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Howard Dean!
Say, I'm sure there's some disappointed people here. You know what? You know something? If you had told us 1 year ago that we were going to come in third in Iowa, we would have given anything for that. And you know something? Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Tom Harkin, we're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona.
Unfortunately, what Dean said that night did define the rest of the campaign, but not the way we thought it would. Later that night, when I watched the television coverage, I saw how the media had distorted his exuberant speech.
You know something?
They had isolated the microphone recording Dean's voice without mixing it with the sound of the boisterous crowd of volunteers, transforming this moment into an angry and out-of-control rant.
Texas and New York, and we go to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan, and then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
People were still talking about his post-caucus speech from last night.
Howard Dean, who had a commanding lead here, ruptured himself politically in Iowa.
And had some people, not all of them Republicans, asking whether he overdid it.
A speech they're already calling the scream, eliciting uncomfortable blushes even from Democrats, like consultant Howard Wolfson.
He looked hysterical. So, no, he did not look president. Unfortunately for him, at a moment in which people were watching to see what his reaction was, he did not look at all presidential.
It's not simply just pundits from Washington. I think ordinary people, honestly, who saw that, thought it was pretty weird.
Bizarre, eerie, weird, odd. No one could really explain it. Some could not believe it, but the consensus was Dean may have really hurt himself.
Not only are we going
Bizarre? Weird? Eerie? When I went back to my own footage, it looked completely appropriate. I could hardly hear him over the roar of his supporters. Nothing weird here. He was obviously having a good time. He was laughing. The networks and cable played it with Dean's voice isolated nearly 700 times in the next few days. Were they reporting the news or creating it?
He's upset. We're all upset.
Throughout the American media, Dean came under scathing ridicule for what came to be known as the Dean Scream. 3 days later, Diane Sawyer invited Howard and Judy Dean onto her show on ABC.
This is the sort of thing that can really hurt you. But I think, and this is just to read what some supporters have said, they're just worried it's not presidential. And some of the political analysts have said that the real problem is that it tapped into another concern, and specifically the whole issue of temper. So, can I ask you, Mrs. Dean, does your husband have a temper? Ever seen temper? How often does he lose his temper around you?
It just doesn't happen.
And Texas and New York!
Much of the country had seen it over and over, and it left a lasting negative impression, difficult to overcome in the next important primary, New Hampshire.
To all you merchants of lies, as big as you are, you'll be brought down to size. Who proclaim your mission is democracy, where the poor pay for prison and the rich live for free.
I just spent 2 hours in a phone bank, and everybody asked me why in the heck I'm supporting a crazy man. So I'm really not feeling too pumped, enthused, and energized. Can a crazy person balance a budget 11 straight years? Can a crazy person provide health insurance to every person under the age of 18 while still cutting overall spending? I don't see how anyone could be crazy enough to not support Dean.
It irritates me that he's been characterized by the press as the angry guy, because I think that does him a great disservice.
I don't think that they couldn't find anything else on him. I mean, he's the clean-living governor from Vermont, and they've been trying to dig up dirt on him for like a year, I'm sure, and couldn't find anything. So the best they can do is this bad film edit from one pep rally and be like, oh, it indicates that he is unstable.
The media played it up as if he was a nutcase. But there's no question. This man is not a nutcase. This man is brilliant. He's what I would call a mensch.
I just want you to know, it ain't where we've been, it's where we're about to go.
There were 3,500 kids from around the country that came to Iowa to help him. They were wound up. My problem is what happened afterwards with the media. I think that people are very upset. They see that image is everything, and what has happened to substance? What has happened to the issues?
When I started to hear that term unelectable, I started to think, well, maybe there's something to this. And not even thinking that this all could be just a sabotage by the media. Now, the media, if you look at, was it CBS and Viacom are all one and the same? I don't know who owns CNN anymore, but they're owned by somebody. MSNBC is owned by General Electric. Everybody's owned by somebody big. You know, the little ma and pa or small operations don't exist anymore. So I would imagine if Howard Dean was making enough of an impact on the thought process of a lot of fairly thoughtful people, that the media came right in and said, well, wait, he's not electable anyway, and let's try to sabotage him. Since that point, he's been sabotaged, I think.
On the trail, Don, Bill, and I met a CBS News team.
Who do you hours I'm with CBS. How are you?
Yeah, I'm Bill Markle.
You're excited about the process really this time?
Oh, yes, I am.
Why?
Well, I'm not excited about the process. I want to get rid of Bush. That's what I want. I want to get rid of this administration. I think
so. You're angry enough this time that you're getting involved to get rid of a president?
Yes. I got to get rid of this guy.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm curious about your take on the presentation of the media around Dean and Kerry and everyone.
I don't know. I mean, what I do think is exciting that this is a real race and that there are so many people that are getting involved in the process. I think it doesn't matter in the end which party you vote for, as long as you make an informed decision and as long as you feel that you can make a difference and that you should be involved in the political process. So it's exciting to see kind of the recharging.
Do you think the media is balanced?
Latte. Obviously, I do. I think that they've done a good job of presenting all the candidates and all the issues, and the people will decide.
To all you merchants of lies, as big as you are, you'll be brought down to size.
Dean was outspoken about his desire to break up the corporate control of the media, which he perceived as a real danger to democracy. He reiterated this position in December 2003 on a popular cable news show.
11 companies in this country control 90% of what ordinary people are able to read and watch on their television. That's wrong. We need to have a wide variety of opinions in every community. We don't have that because of Michael Powell and what George Bush has tried to do to the FCC.
He was asked if his policy would be to break up giant media enterprises. His response was a resounding
yes. We're going to break up giant media enterprises. That doesn't mean we're going to break
Dean
up...
courageously used the media itself to expose media control of information. These public statements certainly didn't endear him to the media moguls.
Unfortunately, I think that the media is now the kingmaker of the American presidency. And unless you're on the good side of the mega corporations that run the TV, radio, and newspaper industries, you don't stand a chance.
Dean lost the New Hampshire primary. The day after, a surprising apology was broadcast on ABC. Diane Sawyer admitted it was the media that distorted Dean's Iowa speech, in fact, creating the Dean scream.
First, we want to do something we think you don't see a lot in television news. It's a kind of mea culpa, and I'm as guilty as anybody else. Probably nobody in this country missed seeing Governor Howard Dean's pep talk after he lost Iowa.
What we heard on the air was not a reflection of the way it sounded in the room. He's holding a handheld microphone, one designed to filter out background noise.
Unfortunately, Sawyer's apology was too little and too late to undo the terrible damage from 700 broadcasts.